Vincenzo'S Go Crypto Investing bell notification, like the channel, subscribe, and share to get that information and education and truth from the most trusted source and top YouTube influencer in the cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, and the XRP sphere in media. Uh, Zero paid partnerships, free to do whatever I want and to speak the truth, most importantly, in my own personal opinion on what's taking place in the market. As I am not a financial advisor, hit that bell notification, comment down below, like it like you've done, and I greatly appreciate it as it's helping us push us through this elusive YouTube algorithm sphere that we need to do to educate and get our information out to more people. And part of that truth is we have the Saudi Arabia Central Bank agrees in a partnership with Ripple blockchain deal, right? And you can see the price in Saudi Arabia is currently at $1.95 for XRP, and it was at its high in 2018. Just like the chart's exactly the same, the price is just different. They were up about $10 and change, but this is a big deal for Ripple, as the price, as we predicted, would collapse 30% in a matter of hours the other day, and we gave you a week's warning, 2-3 weeks warning on that. The Saudi Arabia Monetary Authority, similar to the Fed here in the United States, the SAMA has signed an agreement with blockchain-based company Ripple to help banks in the kingdom improve their payment infrastructure, right? So they're going to use participating banks from Saudi Arabia will use Ripple's current software solution to instantly settle payments sent into and out of the country. Use of X-Current has the potential to radically shift how banks in Saudi Arabia send money globally. This is this type of adoption that you need to keep seeing. You need to see more of it. And this is the type of thing for Ripple that could bring them more mainstream and really get some money flowing into their favor as their blockchain technology is used, right? And that's the most important part of the crypto sphere, as far as this channel goes, is the blockchain technology, not necessarily the coins, but the technology that the coins are bringing attention to. Like XRP's coin is bringing attention to Ripple's technology in the blockchain, right? And I believe that's very important, and you should all understand that. Central banks around the world are leaning into blockchain technology and recognizing of how it can transform cross-border payments, resulting in lower barriers to trade and commerce for both the consumer and the corporate entities, said Rayo Sama, in leading the charge as the first central bank to provide resources to domestic banks that want to enable instant payments using Ripple innovative blockchain solution. And this is from Arab News, right? I believe it is their news network over there, and that's very important, as that is some adoption that's taking place in things that actually matter. Stock market news, truth, and this is another thing we talk about, the truth on what's going on in the crypto sphere. Some Ripple breaking news, stock market news, August 17th from the Wall Street Journal. 2023 ends lower, who cares? Judge and SEC Ripple case opens path to partial appeal after July ruling, and that's what took place the other day. Ripple is going through the motions to challenge the ruling, or some of the ruling, or all of the ruling, and they're going through the motions in the legal process. And at this stage, they had to ask the judge what she has to grant, or it'll go above her head. Some nonsense. Some of her saying, yes, you have the right to appeal this, which they do. You always have a right to appeal. It hasn't gone to the actual appeal in front of a judge or a jury, or however they do that. It's just going through the motions. It's like a 9-inning game, and they're in inning number 3.5 on this appeal process before you get to go to the judge and an appeal is made, right? A new battlefront has opened up in the Security and Exchange Commission nearly 3-year-old lawsuit against Ripple Labs following a federal judge ruling last month. Judge Torres said Thursday she would allow the SEC to move forward with a request for interculture, I don't know what that word is, appeal which would eventually lead to higher court overturning parts of her July 13th decision that Ripple's sale of a cryptocurrency XRP only violated investor protection laws, some at the time potentially dealing a blow to the SEC's efforts to police crypto markets. The case is a major testing ground for the SEC belief that it has jurisdiction over most cryptocurrencies, which agency leaders say should be regulated similar to stocks and bonds. Crypto fans and skeptics alike have long hoped that the Judge Torres would provide a clear answer to the question of whether Ripple XRP sales should have been registered with the SEC as the agency alleged in a 2022 or 2020 lawsuit, right? So it's going through the process, and we'll continue to bring the news as the process continues to stagger along. And let's look at some of the XRP price now, and you can see if we zoom out, oops, we're spinning there like a dial. It was like the Wheel of Fortune spinning wheel. Let's get out of there. Let's go back into here, click into there, click back down there, click down here, get into the daily time frame. Nope. We even need to go to the weekly time frame. We got to start, remember, breakdown, basic technical analysis, far out time frame. We can see what we've had going on here with our industry exclusive YouTube made famous by old Vincenzo perching tool. We need a green one, that bright green, and then that it's big arrow. Everybody can see the big arrow, right? There's no wrong arrow. We got multiple arrows here. And we need the perching tool. You can't see that arrow, and you can see back in 2020, bam, $3 and about 28-cent high volume peak. On this chart, other charts I have go back to 2014, which is the longest good chart that I can find. Peak, long bear market here, continued to capitulation, which just so happened for XRP to be the 2020 capitulation. It happened much later than the Bitcoin capitulation that happened about 8 months earlier, and then had a second capitulation. I guess you could say that was the ultimate capitulation because it was bigger, and then we had the rally. Now we had a dump, but it's been an orderly dump, just like this was. It was big dump, but there was a lot of big swings. It was nice and orderly though. And then you lost about 50, 60% of your market, or 80%. We'll measure that out in a very short amount of time. Pump back up to $1.99. Look at the volume hump, the mean, the line in the middle is the mean of the volume, and that hump is smaller than that hump back here. Ever so slightly, but smaller, right? And then the second wave that you had with all this accumulation back here before the capitulation, you didn't have as much accumulation. You just had a big hump, one big mountain, and then it flatlined. And where it flatlined here last time, it's even less now. See that? It's even less. And that's something to be noted and to pay attention for, because I think we have to have a capitulation here. And this was just news and timing took place at the same time to go along and correlate with the technicals. One could look at that as three separate things and a coincidence, or one could look at it like it is. It's the manipulated market, orchestrated and executed flawlessly by the powers that be that have infiltrated the United States government, the Federal Reserve, and the world banking system to manipulate the crypto market, the stock market, the Federal Reserve, the gold and silver bullion market. They've infiltrated all markets, and they can pump and they can crash markets whenever they want at the tip of their fingers. They just have to say the word. And I think all three of those things were orchestrated to come together at the same exact time here to get a euphoric pump. And bear markets are notorious for having the biggest moves up in a single day, a single week, or a single swing high to swing low. They tend to have the most volatile moves, and they actually have bigger inner move pumps on the way up in a bear market than you usually do in a bull market on the way up. Just like you had right here. You had a 110% pump in one day, day and a half, and from its swing low to its swing high, it was up 217%. That was one big, ferocious bull market push. And then it just quickly gives it all back in the matter of a couple of weeks, but it really gave it all back in the matter of 3 hours. But that's something to pay attention for. And that's why you need to understand, and I've been telling you that this thing could breakdown after you came in off of this 14-month long symmetrical triangle from the 2021 high. We told you way back then it was a head and shoulders topping reversal pattern, and that's how we got our 18 to 22 cent target. Thought it would hit it last year, came down last year to 27 cents, 28 cents, I believe, last year. And then it entered into this long symmetrical triangle here, a neutral continuation pattern after a big dump, and it broke out to the upside like we were thinking, and then it was in this rising channel. It ended up forming, see this, the rising channel, uptrending upper resistance, and then we failed the back test here and uptrending lower support. And what I'm fearing here, and one of the big things you got to watch out for, and we'll make this bigger right here, it can be purple, it's just got to be bigger, this line right here, that is the uptrend that it got rejected when it initially came in here the first time, the second, and a whole group here in 2022, and then early 2023, and then along with the news, correlating with the technicals, correlating with the judge, it had enough to pump it, and as it came back up, it hit major upper resistance up here, failed its first major test after initially getting a nice bounce here on a back test of the top part of this major blue trading zone. You see this came down in the daily time frame, and it formed that little half dinosaur or a hook, and then it flushed right through there, and it came right back on the dump down. See that on its initial stop before it had its initial first capitulation after the first leg to the downside. It tried to hold and back test just like it tried to hold and back test up here, same formation on this old major resistance that we just went over, and it busted through, and it was trying to hold it as support to stay bullish, and it couldn't. And as soon as it flushed through there, look where it came down, all the way down here to the bottom of an old major support level line too. And that major support level line is the bottom part of this wedge that we're looking at. See that? See how the technicals and the news all correlate? I mean, that's why it bounced at 42 cents, and we had a 47-cent target that we were thinking an initial bounce could happen, which that is really where the initial bounce happened. The mean of the volume of this whole pump just happened to be at 47 cents, and you can see in the daily time frame, that's where after that quick 15-minute wick down, that did just so happen to hit the 42 cents. It's really consolidating right along the 47, 48 cents, and now it's pumping up, right? So what you got to try to do now, if you're trying to reverse the price, but if you look at what's going on in the moving averages now, they came way up, where the 50 was, the short-term moving average was over the middle and the long-term moving average, which is very bullish, but now they're starting to level off, and they're all starting to converge on each other, which means in the daily time frame, they're going to start coming down. If we project this out another week, week and a half, you're probably going to have something like this in another week, where the 50 is now starting to come over top of the 100, and then the 200 is starting to run parallel, and they're all starting to group together. And then you're going to get a cross of the shorter term moving average through the 200, the 50-day moving average first, or the 50-day, the shorter term crossing and moving over the 100-day in blue moving average, and then it'll eventually accelerate to the downside in the short-term moving average because it reacts quicker. And maybe in 2 weeks, you're going to see the short-term moving average, the 50-day in red, cross the 100 in blue, and then cross the 200 in green, which would be very bearish. And I think that's something that you're going to look for, as you can already see it's about to coil up. If we fast forward 5 days, this would be my 5-day. In 5 days from now, this is where I think these moving averages would be. You're going to have, oops, it's 5 days. You're going to have something like that. Then you're going to have that. And then you're going to have that starting to go down, and they're all going to cross. And that's very, very bearish. So what you need to have happen is to get a big pump. If we go into the 4-hour time frame, as I'm rambling here, this is going to be a very long video. A lot of information in here and a lot of truth to the technicals that's taking place right now. All right, there's a lot of pushing and pumping going on. But here's what you need to happen. Let's get into the 4-hour time frame. You can see what we're forming now, right along that 47 cents. You pretty much bounced off. That's where you had 3 of your wicks, and then you started this little upwards or rising wedge, rising channel it could end up forming out to be. But if it forms something like that, that is a bearish continuation pattern in a bullish fashion to break to the downside. But the two targets I'd be looking at first is a back test at this major resistance level now that used to be a support level, right? That it failed to hold and broke back down. You got to break over that at about 53 cents. And then you would have to get all the way to 57, hop back on top of 57 and be between the top part, the bottom part of this 57 cents, but in this blue trading zone and just below the major upper resistance to try to get back into bullish territory, right? That's what you got to do to get bullish. So that's what I'd be watching out for this weekend. Does positive, and you really need a good big volume push. You need to get some big candles, something like that back there, or even half of that, and start rolling it and start moving this mean of the moving average and at least the 4 hourly and start coming up like this and breach this old hump back here. But I don't see that happening right now. So I see major upper resistance, which could be a classic hook nose Jew bearish reversal pattern as you run up. If you get up to 57 cents, you could get rejected up here by this descending overhead resistance too from an old support level, right? So you got major resistance at 54 to 57, and if you want to get bullish, you have to get on top of this blue trading zone, the bottom part of it, hold it as support, and then try to fight your way back over what was for about 8 months major overhead resistance that we broke back. If we slightly look in the way left machine, that we finally broke above back here with the July 11 Torres decision, right? Like, subscribe, and share. Peace and love.